Hello, everyone. Good morning. I hope you are all well, staying safe. Um, we'll give it a couple we'll give it a couple of minutes before we start. We're doing a session um, that looks at the uh, 2020 Hamilton Police Hate Bias Statistical Report. So we're going to be talking about the report, highlighting uh, some of the numbers from the report and some of the gaps that need to be filled. And then we'll also be sharing some resources that I think are important as we continue to address the issue of hate in Hamilton, in this province, in this country. So yeah, thank you for joining in. We're just waiting for folks to join in. I might look away from time to time, and the reason is we're doing an Insta live at the same time. We're doing the stream to Facebook, and YouTube. So from time to time, I might look away. It's not because I don't uh, I'm distracted. It's not because I'm distracted. It's just because I want to make sure that I'm getting uh, the attention of folks that are on Instagram. So um, we're just going to be here for 30 minutes. I'm going to possibly do like 15 minutes of going through this report, and then if you have any questions, please send them in whatever avenue that you're listening to this. If I miss it, I apologize in advance because I'm trying to track two things at the same time. So let's dive into this. And my apologies to the folks on Instagram. I have the actual report that people can see on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, but then I can't do that split screen on Instagram. So you have to. I apologize. You just have to listen in, and then maybe later on you can check the video that's being recorded on those platforms. So let's dive right into it. So basically, uh, where is this report? Yeah. So again, these are the numbers from 2020. Uh, Basically, the Hamilton Police is reporting 80 hate crimes, hate incidents that happened in the year of 2020. So the breakdown is that there's 8 hate crimes, and then there's 72 hate bias incidents. I think the Hamilton Police, instead of using every police department uses different words. So at HCCI, we tend to use the description of hate incidents and hate crimes. The Hamilton Police uses hate bias incidents and hate bias crimes. So again, breakdown is 8 for crimes, and then 72 for hate bias incidents. According to their reports, they say majority of the reported incidents were directly related to racial bias, followed by religion and sexual orientation. In 2020, the Black community, the Jewish community, and members of the 2S LGBT community were groups that were frequently victimized. So uh, that's the number. When comparing it in the report, they compare it to the incidents that happened in 2019. Most of you will remember, uh, yeah, the trial and tribulations of 2019. So in 2019, there were 92 hate bias crimes and hate bias incidents. In 2019, there were same number 8 hate bias crimes and then 84 hate bias incidents. So basically, the Hamilton police is making the claim that the overall number of police reported hate incidents fell from 92 to 80, which represents a decrease of 13% over the previous year. And one of the reasons why we wanted to have this session was, I think, when you read this report, on the back, but we'll talk about the gaps in this report and what we can do to address this. So 13% might seem huge, but in actual numbers we're talking about 12. And I'll make comments about us thinking or the report stating that we had a 13% decrease in hate crimes. The report also highlights, what's the difference between a hate bias crime and a hate bias incident. So, from their definition, a hate bias crime it includes a criminal offense where there's evidence to prove that the offense was motivated solely or in part because of a bias or prejudice based on race, ethnicity, language, color, religion, sex, age, mental or physical disability, sexual orientation, gender, identity or expression, or any other similar factor. That also includes hate propaganda offenses. And then the distinction between that and a hate bias incident is this is an incident that includes hate or bias towards any member of the public because of their race, nationality, ethnicity, language, color, religion, sex, age, mental or physical disability, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, or any other similar factor. These incidents cannot be proven to have been motivated solely or in part because of the person's bias prejudice towards the victim, but include some type of racial overtone. And this is where we get into the, into the distinction between community members saying these things are hate incidents or hate crimes versus what the police might deem as a hate crime or a hate incident based on the criminal code, and that's what they are addressing. They break the numbers down in terms of age, disability, gender identity, sexual orientation, racial bias, and religion. And as mentioned earlier, majority of the numbers are related to racial bias and religion and sexual orientation and gender identity. So this is the next section is online reporting. So the Hamilton Police launched a new online hate bias reporting tool March 10th, 2020. And so their idea was, hey, we've launched this tool so folks can make a report online without coming into the police station. And the idea was, yes, there might be many members of the community that will not want to go into the police to make a report. So they launched this March 10, 2020, and so the from their numbers, they say a total of 108 reports were submitted under the category of mischief hate bias between March 2020 and December 2020. Out of the 108 reports, 22 met the criteria for hate bias reporting. So of the 22, they break it down further to say there were 0 reports that were classified as hate bias motivated crime. So that's the actual offense, the crime. And then 10 reports were classified as incident based. Out of the 10, 8 were graffiti related incidents, and 12 were classified as incident only, includes incidents that occurred at a place of worship, a private dwelling, house, or a business belonging to a member of an identifiable group. The motivation is ambiguous, and there's no information, evidence to suggest that the incident occurred due to a hate bias. So again, this is this is where I'm lost at words. Anyway, so I think one of the main gaps in this report is you're saying that there were 108 reports, but then only 22 met the criteria for hate bias reporting. So what happened to the other 80 or so reports? Why didn't they reach the criteria? And those numbers are not in this report. And I think we need to know why those numbers are not here. What's the criteria that is being used? And also what resources were provided to the 80 or so individuals that their reports weren't addressed. So breakdown in terms of the number 80 based on racial bias. The Black community was impacted the most with 33, followed by South Asian and here we have Arab West Asian. Again, as Dr. Emil Joseph will say, how do you have a classification as Arab West Asian? That doesn't capture some of the ways in which people will identify themselves. But nonetheless, that's what they have there. So that's the breakdown around racial bias. The next is religion, and members of the Jewish community were highly impacted. The number there is 30, followed by members of the Muslim community with 1. And anyways, I'm just presenting the results, and then I will comment. So again, I'm always skeptical of percentages, because then in the report it says there was an increase of 3.4% targeting numbers of the Jewish community, and a decrease of 87.5% targeting members of the Islamic community. And when you use percentages, we have this tendency of saying, oh, there was a decrease of 87.5%. Anyways, that's the number. The next section is around sexual orientation and gender identity, and then they break it down by the various divisions. Division 1, I believe, is downtown. Division 3 is east. I forget where Division 2 is. So basically, 30 in Division 1, 19 in Division 2, and 23 in Division 3. So that's basically the breakdown. What I'm going to do is I'll put the report in the I'll put the report here for those that are on those that are not on those that are not on Instagram. I've put the link for the report. I know. Sorry, David. I was deep into the report, so I didn't see your message on Facebook. But I have shared the link for the report so that folks can access it at their own time. So basically, that's the report. Um, uh, yeah, and I think yeah, that's the report. Let me switch over. Yeah, so that's the report. Um, I wanted this session. I wanted us to host this session because one to present this publicly, because not many members know that this report is going to be released. And I don't know how many of you tune into the Hamilton Police Board meeting at 1:30 on a Friday. So we wanted to share the report with you. And again, my response or HCCI's response to the report is it doesn't give the full picture of what's happening. We have a poll we have a poll um, on Instagram and Twitter, and we had four options, I believe 50, 60, 80, and 150. And most people are choosing 150 as the number of hate incidents and crimes that occurred last year. So people know that 80 is not the accurate number. And again, I must stress the number 80 is the number that the Hamilton police deem as necessary to investigate, right? And as members of the community that experience different forms of hate, we know that there are some types of hate incidents that don't rise to the level of criminality. So where are those numbers, right? So I think that's why it's important. That's why I think this report has a huge gaping hole. And my colleague, my colleague on Instagram, Sarah Jama, has given me a great segue into my next comment. So because of this gaping hole, that is why HCCI and Dr. Mill Joseph, Spectrum Hamilton, McMaster University office, the Office of Community Engagement, have been having focus groups with members of the community that are impacted by hate to discuss what an independent community online platform will look like, so that we can capture that data and the incidents that the police are not addressing. Case in point, they have an online platform. 108 reports go in, and only 22 are deemed necessary to investigate or follow up with. So, what happened to the 80? And I think when we create a community-based online platform that allows community members to input or uh, 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 um, to be able to report what they deem as as hate crimes, that allows us an opportunity to have a better sense of where we are at. So that's the basic premise. For those of you that want to tune into the discussion that will happen on Friday with respect to this report, you can tune into the Hamilton Police Service Board meeting and hear what they have to say. And the last thing I'll say before I move over to people's questions is that, think about it. We're a city that has more than 500,000 folks, and when we are talking about hate crimes, hate incidents, this is the only report that we have, and all know that's a reported number. So when last month, when we were talking about anti-Asian racism, and everybody was asking, does it happen here in Hamilton? You know, uh, members of the Asian community would tell you 100% it happens, on numbers that you would not even imagine. And yet, the media didn't know where to go. People were saying, it's wrong, but then we don't have anything to show for. So it's very important that we start looking at multiple ways of addressing hate in the city. So I'll stop there. I know that there were some questions. Uh, So Amy on Instagram is asking, do they get more reports that may not fit into their categories? Yeah, so we don't know, and that's the thing with with depending on the police to give us hate incident report. So that's I would say again, this report is incomplete. It provides a gaping hole, and so there needs to be an alternative, and hopefully HCCI will and other community members will be able to provide that alternative. Um, yeah. So any other if folks have questions, I can uh, I can answer. And we have folks on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram Live. Uh, Let me just make sure yeah. So if there are no questions, what I'm gonna do is for the folks that are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, I'm going to share some links with you. The first one is from Press Progress. It says Canada is bringing in new legislation to stop the spread of online hate. Here's how it can work. So I'll share those links with everyone. And again, this shows us that this report is incomplete when we talk about online hate. And how is marginalizing and even getting into the realm of right wing terrorist attacks, as we saw in Quebec and in New Zealand. So that's the first link. The second link that I'm sharing with you is from the Canadian Relations Foundation. They did an extensive online survey. They did an extensive survey around online hate and racism. And some of the highlights from that report was, hey, 78% of Canadians are concerned about the spread of hate speech online. 79% support strengthening laws to hold perpetrators accountable for what they say, share, and do online. And racialized Canadians are almost 3 times more likely to have experienced this kind of behavior online. So again, when we are talking about hate, and we put a blanket statement that says, oh, according to the Hamilton police, last year there's a 13% decrease in hate incidents and hate crimes. It's totally not the whole picture. The other link I would share with you here is the website for the anti-hate network here in Canada. So I'll share that with you. And then locally here in Hamilton, there's a community collective called No Hate in the HCCI is part of that collective. The Legal Clinic, Hamilton Immigration Partnership Council, and other community organizations are part of it. So on May the 19th and May 19th and 20th, they'll be having some workshops and some sessions. Listen, learn, and act, an anti-hate community summit. So I've put that. I'm also sharing that again, so that folks can have access to it and attend if they want to. So I think that's it. Let me just make sure I'm answering people's questions. Would a review team be possible? Kind of like what happened with sexual assault. It's yeah, I don't know. When we're talking about hate incidents and hate crimes, it's so extensive that I think the focus should be on the preventative measures as opposed to the incident response. When it gets to the police, that means that the harm and damage has already been done. Whereas if we are proactive in, the interventions and the actions that prevent us from getting to a hate crime or hate incident. Because when it's a hate crime, that means that somebody has been assaulted. That means that somebody has possibly lost their life. There's been damage to somebody's business, right? So I think the focus should be on what are the preventative things that we can do. We know that even in our schools, right, there's so many issues of hate, Islamophobia, xenophobia that happens in schools that we don't even track, and that the police have no idea is happening. So we really need to focus on the preventative methods and how we don't even get into the incidents. And I think that's a new mode of rethinking, because previously we just say, hey, we are in a multicultural Canada, everybody gets along, let's be nice, let's be polite, let's talk about love. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. We need to be active. We need to be proactive. We need to be, we literally had a white supremacist working at City Hall. How do you say let's sing Kumbaya? We have a perennial person that runs for mayor. I'm not going to name the name, that runs for mayor and then applied for a Canada wage benefit to do activities in white supremacy. Like, this is dangerous, So we really have to take proactive attention to these issues, because people get harmed, possibly lose their lives. There's psychological issues, right? So we need to take this serious, and when it bleeds into political discourses too, then it becomes a huge issue that we have to deal with around white supremacy, alt-right political movements, and what have you. Yes. Someone commented, and even in reporting of hate bias, there's no consequences that the Hamilton police enforce other than a stern talking to. Exactly. So then, when that happens, right, again, we are not actively engaging in preventative measures to prevent the hate incidents and hate crimes from happening. And so that's why, again, I can't overstate it enough. This report has a gaping hole, and I wouldn't take too much in the decreases that might come out of the headlines tomorrow, right? I gave the example of the hate incidents that the Muslim community is facing. If you put a report out that says there's been an 87.5% decrease. You talk to anyone that practices the faith of Islam, they will tell you that's ridiculous, right? So I think we need to make note of it. And like I said, HCCI is taking action, other groups are taking action, and this needs to be something that we talk about more often. And again, preventative measures. On Facebook, we have, thank you for the links. We do need the whole picture so that we can actually do the work that we'll have. Exactly. Thank you, Celine. And that's all we are saying. As a city, we should have a full picture. We can't depend on one institution to provide us an analysis that is gaping, and even they don't address the analysis. Anybody that does research, you start off with the limitations of your analysis. In this report, there's no limitation. They just say, hey, it's reduced 13%, 87.5%. That doesn't cut it. We are almost done. David Curtis from Facebook, thank you for the community service work you all are doing at HCCI. As a multiracial married person, My lovely wife had so much to contend with way back when, as one coping with the world was. Yeah. So again, yeah, we also need to talk about how sometimes the actual police institution is implicated in these issues as well. I know earlier on this week, I had some interactions with some police officers, and they were wearing blue lives matter line. So that also needs to be addressed. We have Uzma 87% is laughable. Exactly, right? So I think though the report is not being real, they present numbers, but that is not the full picture. Yeah, we're at 9:30, so I have to end it because I know folks have other things to do. COPA does great prevention workshops in schools across Ontario. We need to work with youth, especially white youth, to give them tools to interrupt oppression and discrimination. Okay, thank you for Celine. Thanks for posting. I'm sure others will check it out, and will also check it out. So yeah, this definitely means that we need more information. We need to get a fuller picture, and there needs to be government intervention around the criminal code, human rights, and what have you. So more work needs to be done. We don't have to depend on the police institution to do that work, because sometimes they are actually perpetrating these ideas of hate. Last thing, will you post the links again when you post this video to watch later? Um, yeah, so I think if you check our Facebook, if you check our Facebook profile, all the links will be there. Yes, I'm trying to figure out how to do that over here and do this over here. So, but if you check out our Facebook profile, all the links will be there. And if they are not there, you can send us an email, info@hcci.ca, and we'll send you all the links. Okay. Can you share these other links on Twitter, please? Yes, I will. I will. I will share it on Twitter. Thank you, everyone. And yes, if you have any questions, info@hcci .ca. Yeah, thank you, and uh, we will stay in touch. We will keep in touch, and please be well, stay safe, and reach out to community members. Be there, be present for folks. Yeah, be present for other folks, because we really need it in these uncertain times. Okay, all right, bye everyone.